say that I have done it before, so it should come easy now. Well, come the day when we show us to the door, there'll be sorrow, throwing shadow. And then I think of why I'm living again, and why I'll never settle down. Loath to follow so-called civilization, growing sorrow, throwing shadow. Somewhere in the world, if I care, I have my children. Somewhere in the world, outside the earth. Somewhere in the world, here and there, I always laugh down. Somewhere in the world, like you said, I left my mark. Just a trace, forever leaving. It sure comes easy now, from a place I used to live in. Growing sorrow, shadow, chasing rainbow, playing prison, playing prison. Okay, so this was Playing Prison, kind of an obscure track from Loony On The Bus. Loony On The Bus is a compilation album that Roy released in the late 80s, and the story behind that album goes back to before The Unknown Soldier. Roy had this album called Commercial Breaks, which was shelved. And then later, during the 80s, Roy decided to release some of the material that was on that album and recorded a couple of new songs during the 80s, I think, and packed it all together on this album called Loony On The Bus. Later on, I think during the 90s, he released Commercial Breaks in its original form. The funny thing is that on the album sleeve notes it says that Playing Prison is from 1979, and I mean, listening to the song, it doesn't sound like 1979. I mean, maybe it was written in 1979, but the recording sounds much more like something from the work of art period, I would say. Well, anyway, this is just speculation, it doesn't really matter. This is a great song, it could have been on any other Roy Harper album from the 80s, and I'm not sure why it ended up on this obscure compilation. This song uses open D tuning, but tuned down one tone to C, which makes it open C, if you want to call it by the correct name. So let's check out the tuning. You have to tune down the 6th string to C, you have to tune down the 5th string to G, C on the 4th string, E on the 3rd, G on the 2nd, and finally C on the 1st one. Okay. The first chord that you have to know, and it's the main chord to play this song, it's this one. So this is ring finger on the 2nd string, 4th fret, middle finger on the 4th string, 4th fret, and index finger on the 3rd string, 3rd fret. Okay, so this is the chord that starts the song, and it starts with this picking. Now I'm going to show you in detail my right hand. Again slowly. And from here you move to this power chord on the 2nd fret. This is just a bar on the top strings. And then the 3rd chord is the same power chord but on the 7th fret. And back to the 1st chord and the same picking that I've shown you before. And then for the verses, you start with the power chord on the 5th fret, and this first chord that we've seen before. So this is the part that goes, when you say that I have done it before, so it should come easy now. And then on the way out, you go to this power chord on the 2nd fret, which we've seen before. And you show us to the door. Okay, so. Now, one thing important regarding the strumming for this song and many others from the same period is that, as you may have already noticed, when you are strumming these chords, you have to strum the top strings. And then when you are changing from one chord to another, you hit the first strings, like the 1st and 2nd, maybe 3rd, usually open. Since we are using open tunings, it sounds right. So next we move into the chorus that goes like. The chorus uses these shapes that you probably know from other songs like How Does It Feel, The Game, parts of The Game, Forget Me Not also uses these shapes. And that makes perfect sense because all those songs are in open D tuning. So what I'm talking about here is that these shapes you work on the 3rd and 5th strings, and the other 4 strings are left open. And in this case you have this one, which is you press the 3rd and 5th strings on the 5th fret. So this is the first chord, the second is the same shape but on the 3rd fret. And the 3rd chord is this one, so middle finger on the 5th string, 2nd fret, and index finger on the 3rd string, 1st fret. So it goes. Finish with open strings. And then you move into the second verse, which uses the same structure as the first one, so you go back to this power chord on the 5th fret. After the second verse and second chorus there is this instrumental section that uses the same chords that are used on the intro that we've seen before. So it starts with this chord with the same picking and then moves to this one, but when you get to the 3rd chord there is this descending scale, and you finish again in this first chord. Let me play it slowly. So the tricky bit is when you get to the 4th string. You have to do this hammer and then pull off and finish in the 5th string opened. Okay. The 3rd and final verse uses these chords again. Somewhere in the world, if I can have my children. Somewhere in the world, outside the eye. So these chords are the chords that are used on the intro and the instrumental section. It's a different progression from the 1st and 2nd verses. Back to this one on the 5th fret. Just a trace, forever leaving. Sure comes easy now. Okay, so all of this we've seen before. From a place I disbelieve in. And then we move into the final chorus, which is exactly the same. And this one goes on for quite a while until it finishes with the open strings like the 1st and 2nd chorus.